Beck.
Okay, I just have to, just real quick. How many people believe that it was just by chance that the sign-up number, the 1-800 number for Obamacare, it just is by chance that it's 1-800-FU?
And it's spelled out. Everything except the final U.
We've left the U off for extra savings. It's
F-U and then the rest of that word and then Y-O.
Yeah. 1-800-FU. Come on.
Really? Nobody knew. Nobody
I don't
knew
think the president was involved in that. I don't think any of that. I do think the person who was responsible in his little Marxist world did say, it'd be funny. I wonder if we could get 1-800-FU. And they asked for a specific number.
I would kind of almost believe that the places that, assign the 800 numbers are aware of the most dangerous combinations of numbers. Then they might warn someone coming in and saying, hey,
you know what that spells?
Do you know what that spells? I would think there'd be probably a lot of fail-safes in between, hey, I need this number, because there's no other need for this number, is there? That's not spelling anything else that we know of. It's just a number. So it does seem like somebody, who knows, maybe pro or against, came up with this.
It's like the bored Disney animators when they do some of the stuff they do.
The clouds happen to spell sex in that one frame. Come on.
And then in, I think it's The Rescuers, where you got the naked woman in the window as they're sliding down the street. I mean, there's just some things that they do, I think, for kicks.
Yeah, and I think this was somebody for kicks saying, it'd be funny is if we had as a little private joke between us that the call-in number was 1-800-FU. That's who you're dealing with. Mm-hmm. You're dealing with revolutionaries and people who just don't look at the world the same way. I mean, remember when they had the gay activist into the White House and they took those selfies, those pictures of them, making out in the hallways of the White House, which is wholly inappropriate. You wouldn't do that as heterosexuals. It's just wholly inappropriate. And they didn't care. And they were just, let's be totally inappropriate in the White House. Well, that's who you're dealing with. And so if you really think that they didn't, come on. Seriously. Stu, odds that they had no idea.
I mean, it seems unlikely that no one at any point came up and said, hey, guys, you know what this spells? Like, that would really seem to be unlikely. It seems more likely that somebody,
What are the odds? What are the odds that the random, come on. You've got to be able to compute those odds. What are the odds out of all of the numbers that are out there and available? What are the odds that they just randomly come out and spell that?
I mean, you figure, let's see, what is it? There's 7 numbers? So,
7.
Yeah. I mean, right off the bat, you'd have and there's 9. So you'd be, 1 in 10 million, but you got to minus out all the other used numbers. And the thing is, of course, people don't use that number for a good reason. So that one is probably one of the few available 800 numbers. So if they had, is it an 800? It's not an 888 or an 866,
no, it's an 800.
Right? 800 number. So I mean,
it doesn't matter. You wouldn't believe how many combinations there are available.
Yeah, well,
when we did our 727 Beck number, I got a list of number. I said I wanted either 747 or 727 as the.
I remember that. Yeah.
Right. And so we got a list of all of the numbers that were available. And there's a ton of numbers just when I said I want these 3 digits in it.
Right, so, but we are 888-727-BECK. The 800 numbers went first. So it's, and if there were all the numbers were available, 1 in 10 million. So you figure it's got to be, with all the 800 numbers that are taken, it's certainly a lot better than that. But still, it might be 1 in a million. Or 1 in 500,000.
Come on.
And you'd still
there are not 900 or 9,500,800 numbers.
If this was a Republican program, they would cut no slack and they would say,
of course not.
This was absolutely on purpose. They're giving the finger to the American people. It would be a big story. It'd be a big story.
Yeah.
It'd be all over.
If it was something like cutting something, or they would be like, look, they don't even care. They're saying F you, we'll cut your money, we'll take your money.
Finger.
Yeah.
And that's what they are doing.
Yes.
That's what they are doing. They are saying, look, this is from the same people that are putting a fence around the World War II memorial and shoving our World War II citizens around.
It's from the same people that, Harry Reid said yesterday he doesn't really care about cancer children. He essentially doesn't care.
This is from the same people who are saying that this is a jihad on the American. Now listen to this audio of what's this congressman's name?
George
of the Jungle.
Is it George Miller? He's from California, of course.
Of course he is.
And
listen to this. Listen to this.
Was he thinking about that when he voted originally to shut down the government? He was prepared to sacrifice the local economy. He was prepared to sacrifice the towns around Yosemite when he was on a jihad against American citizens getting access to health care.
A jihad.
He was on a jihad.
A jihad. Let's remember that, gang. They are now accusing you of jihad. Well, let's remember that anybody who uses and accuses anybody of jihad is a hater, a racist, a hate monger, politically incorrect, somebody who's not enlightened. Let's remember what jihad really is. Let's go to Clapper.
Nor do we describe our enemy as jihadists or Islamists, because jihad is a holy struggle, a legitimate tenet of Islam, meaning to purify oneself and one's community.
So I don't understand the outrage here. So the congressman is screaming at us that we are engaged in a holy struggle? Yes, I agree with you.
Just trying to cleanse the community?
We're trying to cleanse the community and ourselves. Yes, I agree with you. What's the problem, Congressman? I don't understand it. Unless you're a hate monger, unless you're a racist, unless you're an Islamophobe that happens to think that jihad is a terroristic move, which, by the way, we don't, our enemy is not terror, because terror is a tactic. Terror is a state of mind. And we as Americans will never give in to terror. We won't allow that to be our state of mind. Congressman, I'm confused. Don't you love it?
Is not terror, because terror is a state of mind.
Yes.
And as Americans, we refuse to live in fear.
There.
Right.
Nor do we describe our enemy as jihadists or Islamists, because jihad is a holy struggle,
yes,
a legitimate tenet of Islam,
yes,
meaning to purify oneself and one's community.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Senator or Congressman. What's the deal? It's a holy struggle. That's all it is.
They've
now,
got to have it both ways.
If you say it's a holy struggle, they would then take that and use it against us, because it's that those Christians listen to what they're saying. This is a holy struggle.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have it both ways, and they can't. Harry Reid tried to have it both ways yesterday with the kids. Do you have the cancer kid thing? Mm-hmm. Listen to this.
You all talked about children with cancer unable to go to clinical trials. The House is presumably going to pass a bill that funds at least the NIH.
Yeah.
Given what you said, will you at least pass that? And if not, aren't you playing the same political games that Republicans are?
Listen. Senator Durbin explained that very well. And he did it here, he did it on the floor earlier, as did Senator Schumer. And it's this. What right do they have to pick and choose what part of government is going to be funded? It's obvious what's going on here.
Stop. The Constitution spells out their right. What right do they have? I don't know, Senator.
Every right.
Every right. The only right. The House is the only one that has the right to say, this is what we spend, this is what we don't spend. Mm-hmm. What right do they have? The constitutional right, sir.
You talk about reckless and irresponsible. Wow. What this is all about is Obamacare. They are obsessed. I don't know what other word I can use. I don't know what other word I can use. They are obsessed with this Obamacare thing. It's working now, and it'll continue to work, and people will love it even more than they do now by far. So they have no right to pick and choose.
Yes, they do.
But if you can help one child who has cancer, why wouldn't you do it?
Listen to his.
Is that Head Start Mom really good?
Why pick one against the other?
Why would we want to do that? I have 1,100 people at Nellis Air Force Base that are sitting home.
Oh my
they have a few problems of their own.
Okay, so he's comparing. Do you have the rest of it?
Oh
you have the rest
gosh.
of it? Because he went on and he said, you know what? For someone as intelligent as you to even ask these questions shows me that you have a real problem. Go back and listen to that whole clip because he went on. He then started to attack the reporter and questioning her intelligence and her loyalty for even asking this question. Harry, you were the one who brought up and said if we could only save just one child, why wouldn't we? Okay, let's save that one child. Pass that. Oh, no, why would we do that? There's no difference between the Air Force Base and, of course, the children with cancer. Excuse me? There's no difference? Why do you hate children with cancer so much, Harry? I don't understand. Or are you just thinking that it's the collective and not the individual? Because, see, I'm confused. You were using the case of the child, and if we could just save one child, that's the individual approach. That would say that we should look at everyone as an individual. And that's what you were making the case for. You were making a case for individualism there. And so they were saying, we'll pass that because, yes, okay, the individual does matter. But then you have to fall back into your collectivism state, which I'm confused. Are you maybe, you know what, maybe we should cut you some slack because I do think you are senile. I do think there's something wrong with you mentally, and I'm not making a joke. I think there's something wrong with him mentally.
Yeah.
The second thing is maybe he's got that going on, but also he's a little dizzy because he didn't know about that speech on jihad. He was like, wait a minute. I never thought that they were just in a peaceful inner struggle trying to purify themselves. I thought there were terrorists there for a second, but then I realized, wait a minute, terror is just a tactic, a state of mind, and we as the American people will never submit to fear. And so maybe he was just a little dizzy.
I do have the rest of him.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, tearing into the report.
This is to have someone of your intelligence suggest such a thing. Maybe you're irresponsible. Yes.
You hear what she said? Hear what he said?
Wow.
Hear what he said? He is threatening the press now to have someone of your intelligence. So he's now saying there's either something you're either in some sort of, I don't know, conspiracy spook thing, or there's something wrong because you're irresponsible. And remember, at the same time,
ask a question of the great Harry Reid.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah. I'm telling you, they have moved into shove. You've got to understand that.
And it's asking a question, not only a question, but a question based on their arguments.
Premise.
Yes. Their arguments
premise
that they've been making about guns and everything else for the past 5 years.
We can just save one child. Mm-hmm. It's your premise, sir. I'm sorry. I'm just using the logic you set forth. Of course, then again, he might be a little worried, too. He might have been a little taken off guard there because he was noodling that yesterday scientists came out and said that if it wasn't for the oceans, the temperature today would be 212 degrees warmer. And they just didn't take in the fact, the oceans, and that's where global warming, it would be 200. Today, the forecast in New York City would be, and tomorrow's high, 292.
Yeah.
If it just weren't for the oceans.
But thankfully there's oceans, and so it's only going to be 80.
Yeah,
and we survive the day. Hopefully.
It's amazing. Jeez. Their logic and what world they live in. You stay fast, and the only thing you can do is laugh at them now.